The Sportscast, October 15th, 2021. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Twitch.tv, Twitter, and Apple Podcasts. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. Visit thesportscast.net, our website, thesportscast.net. And also, please follow us on Twitter, thesportscast1. A lot going on in news today. Zach Ertz has been traded from the Eagles to the Cardinals. The Cardinals have stocked up a bit, and of course, recently the Bucs beat the Eagles 28-22. Joining us all the way outside in Pennsylvania, Jeff Fawver. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
I appreciate it, Santiago. I'm just getting my vitamin D before it gets too cold here.
So let's get into breaking news. About an hour or an hour and a half ago, the Cardinals have gotten Zach Ertz from the Eagles. Some say Ertz was walking back to the locker room not because he lost against the Bucs, and of course he looked pretty sad, but he knew that he was leaving Philadelphia, going to the Cardinals. Jeff, what does this mean for Zach Ertz going to the Cardinals?
Well, it's a great landing spot for him, because when you look at how the Cardinals are built, you have Hopkins on the outside, you have A.J. Green on the outside, and I know Green, he's not in his prime anymore, but he's still got plenty of juice. So Ertz is going to go from being a guy that probably had to deal with a lot of extra coverage to he's going to get a lot of matchups on linebackers, and he's going to be playing with a much better quarterback. So having the opportunity to get better matchups and play with Kyler Murray, who's been great, man, that's a great move for Zach Ertz.
It's also going to send rookie cornerback Tay Gowan and the 2022 fifth round draft pick. Of course, Ertz has not been, he hasn't been displaying much this past season. What's up with them? Is it because, he's just peaked, or do you think he might revive his career in Arizona?
Sometimes you see with a veteran player, a change of scenery really helps them out. And maybe Ertz isn't as dynamic as he once was. He's had some injuries over the years, and you age a bit. So he might not make those, 30 or 35-yard catches down the field. But as far as I can tell, looking at how the Cardinals play, I don't think they need that from him. They just need him to be reliable and move the sticks and be a quality red zone target, because you've got Hopkins and you've got Green who can get down the field. And, they have plenty of ways to make explosive plays. So they don't need that from Ertz. They just need him to be a quality tight end to move the sticks and catch a few touchdowns.
Will this solidify the NFC West and also the NFC for the Cardinals?
Man, I've been impressed with the Cardinals. I mean, it feels as though every year you see a team that signs a couple veterans trying to milk them out for their last couple years. Sometimes it backfires and they can't stay healthy. But the Cardinals have J.J. Watt, A.J. Green, and now they get Ertz. And to this point, it feels as though those swings have been hit so far. And they blend that with a nice core of, young athletes and playmakers. You have to really like what the Cardinals have done.
Last night, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a massive lead. I think it was 28-7. But the Eagles almost came back. The score was 28-22. Another win, easy win by the Bucs. You think?
Maybe not easy. I thought the Eagles really fought back well, but when you dig yourself that type of hole, you're in trouble against anybody. And when you do it against the Bucs, I mean, the Bucs are tough, man. I mean, their secondary is a mess, but aside from their secondary, it is hard to find a weakness on that team. Brady gets the ball out. You can't trick him with blitzing. It's hard to hit him because the offensive line's good. You get in short yardage, the running game's great. And, man, Antonio Brown, I hate to say it, man, but Antonio Brown is he still looks really good. And the Bucs are only going to get better when Gronk gets back, because it feels as though they missed him a bit in the red zone over the course of the last, 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, I mean the Bucs are just loaded. I don't know how else to say. The only way to beat them is going to be beat them in a shootout and take advantage of their secondary. But even that's not easy because then you have to block them up front every play, and they have a pretty good pass rush.
Yeah, it's been a Gronkless 2 weeks. I believe he's out for another week, maybe a couple more after that. But hey, they're fine. They got Cameron Brate. They got AB, of course, and of course Mike Evans, which didn't perform much last night. The Eagles. What do you think about Jalen Hurts so far? Not the best thrower, but do you think? What do you think of his performance so far this season?
I don't think Hurts is the guy that you want to move forward with, but he could certainly grow throughout the year. And I like the guy's moxie, man. I mean, he's tough. He runs around. He makes plays. It's just that what I notice, and obviously I'm not a quarterback guru or anything like that, but his accuracy is just all over the place. It's hard to find 2 or 3 balls in a row where they're all accurate. And that's tough because a lot of guys, accuracy is probably one of those things that it can improve with better fundamentals and different things. But a lot of guys, you see them when they come in, if they're really inaccurate, they never become like a super efficient quarterback. And that would be my worry with him. His throws are just the location of his throws are just all over the place. And that's going to be a tough thing to fix.
He has some time to turn things around. We cannot move forward without talking what's going on with the AFC West. Like I said, Jeff and I have been talking about this. I think it's in play, or the AFC West teams have caught up. Justin Herbert had a fantastic performance against the Browns last Sunday with a shootout between Baker and Mayfield. I think like the score went up into like the early 40s, I believe. But hey, the Chiefs lost against the Bills. Of course, Bills is a legitimate team. The AFC Championship game, the Chiefs killed the Bills. Now things are a little bit different. Jeff, what are your thoughts over the Chiefs losing with the Bills?
So the Chiefs' problems to me are, on offense, they turn the ball over too much. They lead the NFL in turnovers. They're tied with the Jaguars. And the defense is just complete disaster. There's not a single thing the defense does well. So how much of that could be fixed, I don't know. I do think the coverage isn't horrible except for when they play Dan Sorensen deep. And every time he's deep, he gets beat. I mean, that's just the Bills took deep shots every time he was back there. So you can fix that. I don't know what the story is with Juan Thornhill. He's a good player. He played free safety for the Chiefs a majority of their Super Bowl run, although he was out for the playoffs with an injury. I don't know what's going on there, but I think their secondary will actually be okay when they stop with whatever this thing is with Sorensen and Thornhill. But the biggest issue to me, aside from Willie Gay, none of the linebackers can run. They can't rush the passer at all. I mean, they cannot. And if you don't fix that, I mean, the defense just isn't going to be good. Now, if you look at the grand scheme of things, the Chiefs had 2 games where they had a chance to win late against the Ravens and the Chargers. And I mean, they just did not play well late in the game. So that could have changed a lot of things. It feels as though the Bills game was the first game. The Bills just flat out beat the Chiefs. They just outplayed them in every way. And that's the first time we've seen that, aside from the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the first time we've seen that since week 5 of the regular season last year. So the Chiefs have some things to fix. I generally believe that if you have the head coach of Andy Reid's caliber and a quarterback of Patrick Mahomes' caliber, you're going to eventually get things turned around and you're going to be in it. But I don't have a lot of hope for the defense because I just see a lot of guys. I see a pass rush that is completely toothless. I mean, they have no bite whatsoever. Nothing. And I just don't know how you fix that because they just don't have the players to rev up a pass rush. So at the end of the day, if you had to pick one problem that's just going to doom them, their pass rush. Their pass rush just flat out stinks. And I don't know how you fix it.
Have teams figured out Tyreek Hill now?
No. So we saw 2 games this year where teams didn't double Tyreek Hill all day, and he had nearly 200 yards and multiple touchdowns in both games. He killed the Browns, he killed the Eagles, but what the good teams are doing is they're just staying back and not letting the big plays happen and making the Chiefs' run game beat them. And, the Chiefs' running back group is just not dynamic enough to scare anybody. And then the other side of it is the Chiefs haven't stayed patient with the guys they do have. So that has been a problem, but it's not Tyreek. Tyreek is still just a monster. But teams are able to put all their resources to slowing down Hill and Kelsey because they just don't care about the run game.
This week, the John Gruden of the Raiders resigned this past week, so things are kind of opened up with the AFC West. The Broncos, as we knew, had 3 easy games. Now they're going into loss against Pittsburgh this past weekend, so things are not looking good. Of course, they lost against the Ravens. It looks like it's going to be between the Chargers and the Chiefs. Can the Chiefs turn things around and win the AFC West, or you're seeing a strong Chargers?
The Chargers have everything you need to win, but at the same time, their defense hasn't been good either. They're not as bad as the Chiefs' defense, but their defense has not been good either. So I wouldn't look. You can't write off the division in week 5. Well, going into week 6, a lot's going to happen between now and the end of the year. You also have the extra game this year, so it's another game that can obviously go either way. I think Herbert's awesome. I think Staley, their head coach, is awesome. And they have good individual talent on the defense with Bosa and James and a few other guys. But it's a long season. I mean, the Broncos kind of are who we thought they were. They'll beat really bad teams. They'll probably lose to good teams. And it'll be a toss-up when they play middle-of-the-pack teams.
Definitely a conference to look at. Did not see the rise of Justin Herbert this early, but he's definitely playing way better than in college. What's up with this Chargers team? What's going on? Why is Herbert performing so well? Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think maybe he was just underestimated as a talent coming out. And he has all the physical tools, but people were concerned about the mental side of it, and he's been a lot better than anyone anticipated. And then adding good coaching and playmakers all around him, and you have the recipe for success. I mean, the Chargers have a great group of playmakers. Mike Williams has really come into his own, and Keenan Allen is a great route runner. Eckler is a nightmare out of the backfield in the passing game. So you have some really nice pieces there to set them up for success.
Raiders, hard week for them. Had a good start of the season. We saw Derek Carr. Is it over for them this season?
Well, I mean, you can't say it's over, but it's going to be an uphill battle now. I mean, losing your coach week 5 and the defense has been a little bit better, but the defense still has a lot of holes on the back end. And offensively, I mean, Carr is who he is, man. I mean, he's going to have some games where he's really efficient, but he starts to get hit and he falls apart. That's just who he is. So I'm not going to just say like their season's over, write them off it completely, but I don't think they're going to win the division. It's
not going to be a Raiders or Broncos. I think we don't have to discuss the Broncos, but hey, having 3 easy teams, the Jets and like the Jaguars as their opening games of the season. Hey, I'll take that every day, and also twice on Sunday.
That's right.
Well, anyways, are you ready for predictions? Anything else before we head into the to this grueling week 6?
Can't wait.
Well, there's some news. Nick Chubb will not be playing this weekend against the Cardinals, so I want to keep that in mind. Anyways, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go on with the first game in London. Miami versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Who you got?
I'm taking whoever's playing the Jaguars. We'll take Miami.
Tua starting, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's good. They need to figure out what they have in him. So it's good that they have him back.
The Vikings. Kirk Cousins visits a Sam Darnold Carolina Panthers in Carolina. They have a good record at home. What's going to happen there, Jeff?
Yeah, man. I was surprised the Panthers lost to the Eagles. It was a really good win for the Eagles and a nice game, but you have to think the Panthers are really going to want to bounce back. And so I like the Panthers in that game.
quite interesting loss there by Carolina. The Chargers, your Chargers, versus the Ravens. Justin Herbert versus Lamar Jackson, a potentially 2 MVP candidates I've been hearing. What's going to happen in Baltimore?
I like the Ravens. 2 reasons. 1, it's always hard to travel coast to coast. And 2, so the Chargers basically are willing to give up running yards to stop your offense. But the thing about the Ravens is they don't mind running it. They'll run it 50 times if you show a defense that tells them they should run the ball. So I think just strategy-wise, that plays into the Ravens' hands. I think it'll be a higher scoring game, but I think they'll win.
Is Lamar Jackson having a MVP season?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I've been a pretty big critic of Lamar, and never really saw the ability to take over the game as a passer. But man, he's been phenomenal this year. So we'll see if he maintains it throughout the entire season. But so far, I mean, it's got to be him.
Rashad Bateman will be starting this weekend, by the way.
Add a little bit more juice to their lineup. That's good for them.
The powerful Rams visiting a weak Giants. Daniel Jones that got injured, as well as Saquon Barkley. Is this a given, Jeff?
Nothing is a given, but I think the Rams will win that one pretty handily. And they didn't play well last week, so they'll really want to bounce back. And man, I just hope Daniel Jones is actually ready to be back out there. That was a pretty serious knock he took. So, but I like the Rams big.
Cooper Kupp, is he your top? Top receivers, top 10, top 3, top 5.
I don't know, man. He's really good at what he does, but I don't think he's a guy that you'd want to rely on the outside. But he's a good player. I don't know if I'd put him in the top 10.
I would. Anyways, the Texans lost against the Patriots by 3 points. We all thought here at the Sportscast would be a close game. No one saw it. I saw it. The Sportscast people saw it. You're going to visit the Colts. Carson Wentz, that looks like he's playing for his career here. So far, so good. What's going to happen in Indianapolis?
Well, the Colts will win, but it is disappointing they couldn't finish that last game because it really felt as though they had a real chance to beat the Ravens. Just didn't finish the game well. But yeah, they'll win this week.
Who's pushing Wentz to play injured? Himself or the coaching?
I don't know. I don't know if they're pushing him to play injured. It's just he's always injured, so if he's going to ever play, it has to be with an injury.
You're good at Skype, by the way, outside. Okay. Chiefs against a overrated Washington football team. I don't know. Something tells me this could be an upset, but maybe not. Jeff, what's going to happen in Washington?
I mean, I think the Chiefs are going to win, but Chiefs fans keep waiting for this aha moment where it's like, okay, I think we're going to play better. I don't think that's what this is. I think they're going to win, but it's not going to be in a fun, rewarding way. I think they're going to do just enough, like a 28-24, type game, and we all wonder how the heck they gave up 350 yards to, Heineke.
Unless Washington emails have something on the Chiefs.
Well, fingers crossed. I mean, hopefully they have emails on how to improve the defense.
By the way, Heineke, what do you think about him? Do you think he's earning credibility maybe to start over Fitzpatrick or not really?
I mean, he plays his guts out, and you hope he does well other than this week. But I don't think he's the long-term answer. I don't think he's the long-term guy.
The Packers, who are hot, are visiting Chicago with a Justin Fields that's pretty hot as well. Won last weekend. Hey, Green Bay, I haven't figured them out yet, but I think that they looks pretty stable. What's going to happen in Soldier Field?
I like Green Bay in that one. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, you take the better quarterback. I like the Packers in that game.
Cincinnati, Joe Burrow having a fantastic season so far with Lamar Chase, visiting a Detroit who's trying to look for a win, even though they're going to cry it out. What's going to happen in Ford Field?
Yeah, I like the Bengals, man. They've been playing well, and some of their young guys are really playing, I guess, better than I expected. And Chase and Burrow have really seemed to find a good connection. So yeah, I mean, and I like Burrow, man. I mean, he's legitimately good, and I'm just impressed with how he's bounced back from a really major injury, and also having to play a year where he just got battered all year. So I'm impressed with Burrow, so I like the Bengals.
How about Dan Campbell? Do you think he has, maybe he'll get a good season, I guess?
Man, he's got an uphill battle. And to be blunt, I mean, we know the Lions are at the very beginning of a rebuild. So even if you are a great coach, it's hard to win games. So it's going to take time, man.
Going to tough it out. Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray versus Cleveland Browns, who had a horrible loss last week, even though scoring so much yardage. Baker Mayfield versus Kyler Murray. This is going to be a good game. What's going to happen in Cleveland?
I think it's going to be a great game. And I'm just picking the Browns. And the only reason for that is that I just think the Cardinals are due to lose a game. They're the only undefeated team left, and eventually you just don't play a great game. So I just think they're kind of due to maybe not play their best game. And, the Browns being at home will be just enough to kind of push that over the top.
Nick Chubb not playing this Sunday. Does that change your pick?
No. Kareem Hunt's just as good. Kareem Hunt will step in and do great.
Kareem Hunt, you have a heart for him, don't you?
Yeah, I miss him. I miss Kareem Hunt.
Why did the Chiefs let him go? Oh yeah, I forgot that little incident.
Come on, yeah. I mean, he earned his release, but as a player, I miss having him on the Chiefs.
4:25 game. The Cowboys visiting the Patriots. These two teams were considered like America's team. They're going back at it. Dallas is hot right now. As far as we see, can Belichick stop the Cowboys and win in New England?
No, I mean the Cowboys will win that game, and the Cowboys are just loaded with firepower. So I mean that's the biggest part of it. They got guys everywhere. The offensive line's playing well. Multiple running backs, multiple receivers. Cooper and Lamb and Elliott and Pollard. The Cowboys will probably win the.
Will their defense ever, break? You think, or like you think where they're going now, like they're still hanging in there?
I think the offense controls the game enough that the defense can do just enough, is what it seems like to me. Raiders
having a bad week is going to Denver, even bad in the altitude. This is a divisional game. This could decide who is not the worst team in the AFC West. What's going to happen in Mile High?
Yeah, I like Denver at home, and just everything the Raiders have dealt with. That's a lot going on, dealing with outside of football. So I like Denver.
Cortland Sutton, what do you think about his performance so far?
Oh, man, he's a monster. I mean, he's coming back from an injury, so he's only going to get better.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in Denver. And Sunday Night Football, the Seahawks visiting Pittsburgh. Steelers had a huge win last weekend. They had to recover. This is going to be great prime time. Russell Wilson, I believe he's still out with the finger injury. We'll see more Geno Smith. This could be good for the Steelers, Jeff.
Yeah, I think the Steelers will win. I mean, if Russell Wilson was playing, I'd pick the Seahawks, but Geno Smith. Yeah, I mean, Geno Smith isn't Russell Wilson, obviously. And the Steelers' defense can get after the quarterback, so playing a backup quarterback against them is bad news.
What's up with the Steelers? Do you think they got a season they can play for, or do you think it's kind of like, hey, man, we're seeing Roethlisberger disintegrating before our eyes?
Well, yeah, he is disintegrating, but the defense will keep them in every game, or just about every game. So I don't think they're going to get blown out of games, and I don't think they're horrible or anything. I just don't think that they're, like a deep playoff contender. I mean, they could even sneak in the playoffs. Who knows? But I don't think they're not going to go multiple rounds in the playoffs or anything like that.
Yeah, NFC North, I was thinking the Browns, but it could be the Ravens to win it.
Yeah, I think the Ravens, even with all their injuries, have a little bit more balance right now. But we'll see if the Browns' young players on defense improve as the year goes on.
It's interesting how these good teams now, they are doing it without running backs. They got to throw the ball. Bucs, yeah. The Ravens, the Cardinals. You could say the Cardinals, same thing. They don't have a good enough running back, I think.
Yeah, but then you have the Browns, who have two studs, and
but they can't beat the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, it was one game. That's a tough statement.
Which last weekend I actually went to a Browns bar. Oh my gosh, you could feel the intensity, and of course, losing. But man, when I saw Herbert play, he reminded me a lot of Brady a little bit.
I don't know. I don't want to compare anyone to Brady.
You're a Chiefs fan. Okay. Anyways, the games this weekend are going to be huge, of course. I pointed out Cowboys in New England and, of course, Kansas City, Washington. Bigger game than we thought, but it is looming pretty big. And, of course, Arizona, Cleveland might be the game of the week. So definitely looking forward to week 6. Hopefully not too many injuries. Last night, I want to bring this up. Tom Brady says his body's willing to play till he's 50 or 55. But he wants to spend time with his wife and kids. Do you think he'll go that far?
I don't want to doubt him anymore. I just hope he really loves his wife and kids so he gets home to see them. That's all. His body probably will hold up. I mean, he still looks fine. So
I thought he was going to.
He needs a reason to go home. He needs a reason to retire.
Hey
now.
Man, we got to have more championships out there for other teams like the Chiefs.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Jeff, what is the best way to reach you online to talk to you about the Washington football team?
Best way to follow along is at JT Fawver on Twitter.
And you could, and also you can look us up at thesportscast.net or on our Twitter, the Sportscast1. We'll be live tweeting this weekend. Tonight is the ALDS baseball postseason. Things are winding down in October for baseball. And, of course, the NBA season is propping up with preseason. The regular season starts in a week and a half or so. Anyways, Jeff, any closing words before we head off to this beautiful weekend in Pittsburgh? I mean, up in Pennsylvania. You're not in Pittsburgh.
No, just everyone have a great weekend. Eat a little bit too much, and don't move from your couch on Sunday.
Exactly. Eat some barbecue. All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, we'll see you.